Hello and welcome to Central Texas College's Colleague Basic Navigation course. I'm Scott Wyman, well, kind of your presenter. Um, this class is set up into different modules so that you're not subjected to all the punishment all at once. As you go through these modules, you'll be answering some what I call review questions, but they're actually quiz questions to make sure that you understand the things that I've shown you. So without further ado and without wasting too much time, let's get started here. All right, so here's our overview. We're going to take a look at basic colleague familiarization, just to kind of get you used to the colleague navigation screen or the colleague screen. That's kind of the navigation part of this. Then we'll take a look at working with people, adding and manipulating records. And then we'll finish up with working with forms. And that's going to be the longest portion. If I'm not mistaken, there are 6 sections to this particular part of the course. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. My phone number is listed here. Shoot me an email. My email address is listed up there as well. Okay, so just sit back and relax. All right, so here we go. CTC uses an integrated administrative software. Basically, it's a big old database that we use to keep track of and keep records of employees and students. There are many different ways to use this database, depending on where you work. But things such as student registration, posting grades, scheduling classes. For us here in HR, it's where we maintain our personnel records, the personnel actions. Payroll records are maintained here in Colleague. Purchasing, when you need something to order for your department, if you have that capability, you'll submit purchase requisitions through Colleague, and it can also be used for financial aid. So the purpose of this training isn't to make you an expert in Colleague. The idea is to just get you familiarized with Colleague. So that's why we call it the basic navigation. If you need, and I'm pretty sure you will, need additional training on areas that are specific to your job, then you'll learn that on site in your department. I don't have access to all areas in Colleague, so I can't even access some of the areas that I demonstrate here because I use a simulation. But essentially, Colleague has 5 components or 5 different areas of the database. We have the utilities area, the student systems area, the human resources system area, the core area, and then the financial area within Colleague. We have the student section, the human resources, and financial applications. So the way these work is all 3 of these sections, student, HR, and finance, they all feed into and pull information out of the core application of Colleague. Here you can see the abbreviation for each of the sections: ST for student, HR for human resources, CF for financial, and core is again that main hub of the database. When you get your username and password, you're going to log into Colleague using those credentials. And the first thing that's going to pop up is this disclosure of information agreement. So understand that when you log into this system, you're going to be responsible for maintaining the privacy and the security of the information contained within this database. So read this, by all means, read this, and then click the OK button, and that'll take you in and get you started. Okay? So this is the main Colleague user interface, or the GUI, as some people like to call it, graphical user interface. If you need to search for a person or a form, The best way to search for a form, specifically a form, would be to use the form's mnemonic. But you can also do keyword searches. People don't have mnemonics. Mnemonics are for forms. The best way to search for people, and I think I'm going to mention this again here in a little bit, is by ID number. Okay, so this is the person button. Okay, if I go back one and show you, this is form. Okay, so if you're going to search for a form, this is our form button. Then you can either add a keyword, or again, the best way to search for a form is by that form's mnemonic. We don't expect you to know all the mnemonics, but you'll get to know the ones that you work with the most. Okay. All right, so again, back to the people search. To search for a person, you'll click the person search button. You'll enter some identifying information, their ID number, their social security number, their last name. The best way to search for a person, if you're going to search by name, is by last name, comma, space, and then their first name, or at least last name, comma, space, first initial. If you were to search for the last name Smith or Jones or Johnson in this database, you're going to pull back hundreds of records that you'll have to sort through. So again, if you have a first initial, first name would be wonderful. But again, the best way to search for a person is by their CTC ID number. It used to be called their colleague ID number, because colleague, this database, assigns those numbers. They issue those numbers to all students and employees. Okay? So you'll click the person search button. You'll enter the person's ID number, social security number, or name, and then you'll click this search person search results button right here. Okay, this is the person search results button. So if I click this now with no information entered in here, it's going to bring up a blank or empty search results form. Okay, you'll see this is all going to come together later on. Okay, all right. So hopefully this is kind of making sense, right? You got your form search, enter the form mnemonic or keyword for the form. You have your people or person search, enter the ID number, social, or name of that person, and then click the search button. But we also have the advanced button up here. I say buttons, but they're actually just icons, okay? The advanced icon. What the advanced icon does is it will open up an advanced search form. Yeah, we'll call it advanced search form. It's not a field, it's a whole bunch of fields. So the advanced search form, this is what it looks like. So you can enter the name, you can enter their address, the state, all this different information can be entered, even an email address, in an attempt to find the person that you're looking for. Okay, just to give you a view of the other side. Okay. All right, so we're done with this form. So let me go ahead and click the close button up here in the corner, and we'll get rid of that form. That'll take us back to the main user interface. So now we're going to take a look at forms. Okay, this is the form search button. So I'll go ahead and click that form search icon, buttons, icons. I never know what to call it. Okay. So if you don't know what form you're looking for, or if you don't know the mnemonic and you don't want to waste your time doing a search of 100 different forms by name, then you can click this navigate button. And what the navigate button does is it takes you into the browse for forms by application. And these are the different applications that I mentioned earlier: utilities, core, student, finance, and human resources. As I mentioned earlier, the more you use Colleague, the more you get in and start entering the different form mnemonics, and when I say mnemonics, it's actually a code for the different forms. For example, here you can see the NAE. That's the mnemonic for the name and address form. So if I was to type NAE in the form search button and then click search, it'll take me right to the name and address form. It doesn't have to search through a bunch of different forms and say, okay, maybe you want this one or maybe you want that one. But if I just typed address, then it'll probably bring back more than that name and address form, okay? A couple other ones, IASU for institutions attended summary, REQM for requisition maintenance. This is the one you'll use if you're assigned the duty of ordering things for your department. Requisition maintenance is what you use to initiate that purchase, okay? All right, so a few other little goodies as we go through here. This star button up here in the top left corner of the colleague window will open your favorites area, and it'll show you any favorite forms or favorite people you have. We'll see this later on towards the end of the course, okay? The help button. The help button is really good. One of the things I recommend that you look at, and I didn't highlight it here in this, is the list of keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts can save you time. Instead of going from the keyboard to the mouse and the mouse to the keyboard and the keyboard to the mouse. If you learn keyboard shortcuts for the things that you do frequently, it'll save you some time, okay? Understand that there is different help areas. There's a process help that'll help you understand how the forms flow, and then there's a field help that gives you specific help on a specific field on a form, okay? This is the user options icon. User options icon. This is where you would go if you need to change your password or update something for your user profile. And it's also one of the two ways that you can log out of the system. Right? You can log out of the system here in your user options area, or you can use the logout icon up here in the top right corner. The print button, I think, is pretty easy. I shouldn't need to explain that, but it will print whatever form is being displayed on your screen. This is the zoom slider, and what that does is it increases the magnification of the form view. It doesn't change font size or any of that stuff. It merely magnifies the view of the form, and it ranges from 70%, which will make it a little bit smaller, to 130%, which will make it a bit bigger. Okay, so if you forget your glasses someday and you need to go to a working colleague, know that you can do it with confidence because you got a zoom slider that will take you up to 130% magnification. This is the context card area. You'll notice it says no active context. Context cards, this is where it'll display information about the person that you're searching for or that you've searched for. On this context card, there's a pin icon. Using this pin icon will keep whatever context card you apply it to pinned to the context area, okay? There's also a help button or help icon for the context card area. So if you need any assistance with that, just click the help button icon and it'll give you some information. Then we have the view all open context cards. If you have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 context cards open, and you can have multiple context cards open, you'll only see one at a time unless you click this view all open context cards. This will open the context cards and stack them. You'll have a list of everybody that you have in your context area. If you're finished working with a specific record and you want to close that context card, then you click this close icon up here in the top right corner. And it'll give you an option to close the current context cards or close all context cards. And that's where you make a decision whether you're done with one person or whether you're done with all the people. You can also add people to your favorites area using the favorites icon here in the context card. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the context card area. When you search for a person, this is where their information is going to show up. And you'll see, we'll populate this area for you here in a little bit so you can see what information is there. All right, so here comes your first set of review / quiz questions. Okay. I'm going to review them with you here. Then you'll take the little quiz for the review at the end. All right, so go ahead and point to the person search button. Can you find that person search button? If you pointed to that icon, then you're correct. If you didn't point to this icon, go ahead and point to it now so you know. This is the person search icon. Okay, point to the form search icon. Did you find it? Did you point to this icon here? If you did, awesome, great job. If you didn't, go ahead and point to it now and tell yourself this is the form search icon. All right, which icon would you use to change your password? Go ahead and point to it. No, not that one. This one. That's the icon you'll click on if you need to change your password. Where's the show person search results icon? Well, that's a long one. That's a long one. If you need to see what the results of your person search are, then you need to go to this icon right here. I think I got a little ahead of myself there. Okay, so now where is the context card area? Where's the context card area? If you pointed to this or thought that this was the area, then you are correct. Very good. Very good. Great job. Okay, so keep all that in mind because you're going to need to know everything that we just talked about when we go into part 2. So I'll see you there.